Hey Entre Nation, Jeff Lerner here, and today we are learning 4 habits of self-made millionaires. And when you think of a millionaire, who comes to mind? Maybe someone like Richard Branson, Elon Musk, maybe Gary Vee. What about you? Do you come to mind? Do you come to your own mind? Maybe not where you are now, but where you're headed? Well, I know if you're following my channel that you are interested in becoming successful, and you might be encouraged to know. In a survey by Fidelity Investments, approximately 80% of people with a net worth of $1 million or more did it without any help other than maybe college, no trust fund, no inheritance. And how about this one? 95% of people with a net worth above $5 million did it, guess how? Were they doctors? Were they lawyers? By owning a business. 95% of people that we would consider truly wealthy in this world did it by owning a business. So let's get you on that path, if you're not there already, to becoming a multimillionaire. And go ahead, if you would, hit subscribe, support me. I appreciate your support in advance. Helps me bring more content to you about creating that awesome life and figuring out ways, learning ways to pay for it. If you're living paycheck to paycheck now, then talking about the habits of self-made millionaires might seem totally out of reach. But millionaires are just everyday people with great habits. In fact, statistically, you probably know someone right now who is on the path to becoming a millionaire by the age of 38. And that person likely will not have inherited any money. They won't have won the lottery. They will simply be a person with great habits that, if repeated daily without fail, and monthly without fail, and yearly without fail, allow wealth to grow easily. And maybe you are that person. Maybe all the people around you statistically know one person and you're the person. My channel is committed that if you are, I'm gonna help. So my first tip for you is to have very specific goals and actions. Now, I'm sure you've heard of goal setting. I didn't invent goal setting, and I'm not the first person to make a YouTube video involving goal setting, but it's so important. I'm gonna say it again. It is so important to becoming a millionaire. So how about you? Have you been successful with the goals you set in the past? Do you follow through with your goals, or do you let them slide? Classic example is the New Year's resolution, right? We promise to never drink alcohol again. Or in fact, every morning after we drink alcohol, we promise, I'm never gonna drink alcohol again. Or maybe I'm gonna start going to the gym. Or I'm gonna call my mom every week. But then a week later, we're back to our old ways. You know, the reason that millionaires are successful with goal setting is they have learned the formula. And the formula is simply, you must follow through on your goals every single day. No excuses, no backsliding. Warren Buffett says the number 1 rule of making money is to never lose money. And number 2 rule is refer back to number 1. Well, I'm gonna suggest that the number 1 rule of success is to never lose a day toward your goals. And the number 2 rule is to refer to number 1. You can't miss a day. If your goals are big enough and important enough to you, you just won't miss a day. There won't be any excuses. So to set a goal effectively, you first have to have a big enough reason for the goal to become your reality. And then you just simply take daily action to achieve that goal. For example, if your goal is to have a Ferrari, well, that's fine, but why do you want a Ferrari? What is your reason for wanting a Ferrari? Is it to impress somebody? Is it to make you feel good? And if you purchase that Ferrari, is it gonna mess up your other goals? Is it actually gonna be, is it gonna undermine your goals? Maybe leave you short on money for other areas of your life? Or maybe you have the cash sitting around. Can you pay for it outright? You know, sometimes when we set goals, the actual seed, the actual reason at the core of the goal is not a fruitful reason. It's not going to be good for us in the long term. And if that's the case, a lot of times it'll cause our goal to fail. See, there's an interesting thing, and I don't want to get too psychological here, but if you have goals that are based on flawed foundation, that are based on a foundation of like self-sabotage or getting in our own way or limiting beliefs or compromising or holding ourselves back, a lot of times we actually won't meet those goals. Those are the goals we won't reach, because part of self-sabotage is not reaching our goals. And so it's kind of this weird circle where you have a goal, but the reason for the goal is a destructive or flawed reasoning, right? Maybe it's something superficial, something short-sighted. And as part of being superficial and short-sighted, as part of sabotaging ourselves, we don't reach our goals, right? So sometimes you can tell the integrity of a goal by whether or not you reach it. It's kind of this weird quirk, right? But what about your goal to be a millionaire? You're watching this video, right? So I assume that you want to become a millionaire. What's the reason for that? And you have to have a good enough reason why, or else honestly, you're probably not going to reach it. So how can you make that a good, solid, realistic goal for you? Well, step one is to visualize your dream life. Look at it under the lens of saying, is this a high quality life? Like if your dream life, and I don't, who am I to judge, right? But when you look at your dream life, if it's a high quality life. When I say your dream life, I mean the life where you feel financially free, totally happy, totally at peace, and really analyze that. Create that vision for yourself. Where are you? What are you doing? Be really specific. What does it smell like? What does it sound like? What are you hearing? What's going on in the background? Get really crystal clear about that life and look at it and decide if it's a good enough reason why that'll drive you to do the hard work, because it's hard being successful in this world. If it wasn't, everybody would do it, right? Once you've defined your reason why you want to be successful, and I'm using the term become a millionaire, frankly, depending on where you live. If you live in London, having $1 million US isn't actually even going to get you that far. If you want to have like a really great life, you might need like 3 million or 5 million. I would argue that probably 5 million is about the beginning threshold in this world where you're really, truly independently wealthy and free, and what I would call maybe bulletproof from being one disaster or one crisis away from losing everything, maybe a bad lawsuit, maybe a bad divorce, maybe a bad medical accident. But regardless, come up with a big enough reason why that's important to you, and then you have to break it into smaller chunks. It's not going to become real until you break it into smaller chunks. Think about climbing Mount Everest. You don't just go climb Mount Everest. They have base camp, and then they have these checkpoints, and you climb one leg and then the next leg and then the next leg. You have to do the same thing with your goals. Well, let's say you're talking about making $120,000 this year. Well, that's just $10,000 a month. So go out and strategically focus on making $10,000 a month. And that probably means for the average person, depending on what your job is, for the average person, it means creating as many streams of income as possible that can add up to $10,000 a month. Now, I say that you don't want to spread yourself too thin, but you need to create multiple possibilities, multiple opportunities in your life for money to flow into your sphere. We'll talk more about this here in a minute. Millionaires, the number one thing I want you to get from this is that millionaires, really successful people, are highly accountable and they are highly consistent and very reliable with their goal setting. The millionaire goal setting formula is, if you're taking notes, this is the part you want to write down. 1, have a clear vision and a reason why you want to achieve your goal. 2, create a how-to list of all the things it's going to take to achieve that goal. Break it into small chunks, yearly, monthly, and weekly. Then be accountable, follow through every single day, week, and month, and really just have to follow through every day. If you follow through every day, you're following through every week and month, right? And then keep that goal present, keep visualizing it. Use affirmations, repeat it to yourself in the affirmative. That's what an affirmation is. It means in the affirmative. Don't say, I hope to. Say, I will, whatever it is. Do meditation, use imagery, cut out pictures. Really create this vivid picture in your mind of yourself achieving the goal. Athletes do this. High performers do this. Speakers do this. CEOs do this. It will work if you do it too. If having financial freedom is truly one of your goals, and frankly, most of the people watching my channel, that's like pretty high on the priority list. Definitely check out another one of my videos called How to Achieve Financial Freedom, which I think will be very helpful for you. You can get it in the link in the description. My second habit to becoming a millionaire is to start reading if you're not already. Like, I'm obsessed with reading. I'm obsessed with learning. I tell the dumb joke over and over that my name's Jeff Lerner. I can't help it. I was born a learner and I always will be. But honestly, it serves me really, really well. It has helped tremendously on my journey to becoming a multimillionaire. So why do millionaires read? Are you going to read just because this guy Jeff on YouTube said so? Are you going to read because Warren Buffett says that 85% of wealthy people read for 30 minutes a day? And he knows that because he knows every single wealthy person and he asked them. And 85% of them gave him that answer. I'm just kidding. He just repeated another study. But he's famous for reading like 2 hours a day. But are you going to read because we said so? Are you going to read because he said so? Are you going to read because you think that it'll help you become wealthy? Look, those reasons are not enough unless you actually genuinely, deeply love to learn. And you have embraced the truth that learning leads to growing. And growing is a prerequisite is the word, prerequisite for becoming successful. Then you won't actually do the work of reading on a regular basis. It's the same thing with dieting, the same thing with going to the gym, same thing with other things that are hard. You have to have really deep reasons and learn, fall in love with the process. Not just obsessing over the end result. The thing with reading, as opposed to watching video, for example, is it activates your mind, the processing center in your mind that decodes symbols, decodes images, and converts them linguistically into words and phrases and sentences, a whole mental process, right? And it activates that part of your brain. So it's like exercise for your brain. Watching TV is not exercising your brain. It's just taking real life and putting it on a screen. Mentally, that's how it feels. It's like, oh, I'm always looking at stuff anyways. Now I'm just looking at more stuff on a screen. But reading is forcing your brain to do this decoding and translation process that basically, to put it in simple terms, causes your brain to exercise and create new pathways for better learning. So there's just a built-in advantage to reading as opposed to just watching screens. So my millionaire success tips for optimized reading are: the first place to start, great kind of little shortcut, is you don't have to pick up a book and read the whole book. A lot of people are, I don't have time, I don't have the energy to read a whole book. Just open up the table of contents, pick one chapter, pick one idea, and just go read that. It's a great way to kind of dip your toe into the water and warm yourself up to reading. And frankly, it's really efficient. You never have to do more than that. You could read one chapter of 10 different books in a week as opposed to reading just one book in feeling like, okay, I just got one main idea. You could get 10 main ideas, right? The next thing, and I really believe in this, don't speed read. A lot of people look at reading like it's some kind of a competition, right? Like there's somebody grading you on your performance. There's not. It's not about having some big impressive shelf of books that all have creases in the spine and being like, look, I read all those books. No, the important thing, it's not what you read, it's what you learn, right? Read one page. Read that page properly. Read it repeatedly if needed. Read one paragraph. There have been books that I'm reading where one sentence is so profound, I end up reading it 5 or 6 times and I just close the book and I just meditate on it, right? It's what sticks with you. That's all that matters. So don't be in a hurry. Don't be trying to show off to yourself or anyone else. Just read in small enough nuggets that you can absorb them, right? It's like eating food. Take bite-sized bites? Yeah, take bite-sized bites. The next tip is to use a dictionary for all new words. I did this for years. I have people tell me sometimes that I seem to have a pretty expansive vocabulary. It's literally for this reason and this reason only. For years, I read invariably, now I'm like, okay, use the right word, but don't use too big a word because then it looks like you're trying to show off because you just commented about your own vocabulary. I read always, that's a nice safe word. I always read with a dictionary for years and years and years. And it was so valuable in terms of my overall communication ability. The next tip is to practice retaining what you read by restating it to yourself or paraphrasing it to yourself. Just like they say the greatest way to learn is to teach. Well, after you read a paragraph or get a core idea, to explain it back to yourself using your own words, essentially teach it to yourself, and then you really, really commit it to memory. And then finally, you just gotta make it a habit. Reading is a lot like working out. It's not something you can just go do for 4 hours and have actually accomplished anything. In fact, much like working out, if you haven't been doing it in a long time and then you go do it for 4 hours, you're just gonna wear yourself out. It's not gonna be constructive. Make it a daily practice. Again, do it in bite-sized bites, maybe 15 minutes, 10, 15 minutes just to kind of get started and get back into it. Read a chapter, read a few pages, and enjoy it. It's actually fun. When you get over it, people seem to have this block about it, right? Like they're being forced to do it. And I think that goes back to school and it goes back to authority and it goes back to, feeling like we were boxed in and that, childhood was this process of being like smushed and having this box built around us. You got to separate all that out of your mind and actually enjoy reading. It's pretty relaxing. It's like an active form of relaxation for the mind. You can unwind and plus be learning at the same time. It's actually like getting to chill and grow and improve yourself at the same time. It's very, very therapeutic, I think, in that way. And then the third habit to develop for becoming a millionaire is simply live within your means. It might sound obvious, but look around, most people don't do it, so I think it needs to be said. Millionaires didn't earn their money by luck, and although as an entrepreneur, I tend to support probably more strategic risk taking than a lot of people do, I will still say that a penny saved is a penny earned, and that it's a lot easier to make the extra money necessary to invest and grow true wealth if you're not spending all your money that comes in on basic living and recreation and entertainment that isn't necessary. Millionaires have taken the time to understand what's coming in, what's leaving their bank account every month, basically the inflow outflow. Essentially, millionaires walk around, I can't speak for all of them, but I certainly know for myself, you walk around basically with a running cash flow statement in your mind. And you put it on paper, and you create budgets, and you create forced savings, forced investment. We'll talk about that here in a minute. But basically, you lock yourself into an inflow-outflow model that leads over time to building true wealth. And you can learn how to do this. I wasn't born knowing how to do it. Nobody was born knowing how to do it. And you can learn it. You can become an excellent money manager. See, a budget is basically like having a coach, only you don't have to pay the coach. In fact, in this case, the coach pays you. And basically, a budget sits there coaching you all the time, and it's always tapping you on the shoulder saying, one of these things is saying, hey, you need to reduce your expenses. Hey, you need to modify your lifestyle. Or hey, you need to make more money. And actually, that's the funnest thing to do, I guess. Most fun. I think it's the most fun thing to do is to make more money. But in all cases, sometimes you still just got to rein it in, right? You got to pull it back. Your budget doesn't need to be fancy. It just needs to work for you. One of my favorite books, like one of the best books ever in my opinion, it's called Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker. And he has a model in the book, and other people have different models for this. I also really like the book Profit First by Michael, like a Polish last name, but it's a really good book. You should look it up, Profit First. But Secrets of the Millionaire Mind has a basic model as a starting point. It suggests dividing your money into 6 different accounts. First, save 55% of your income for daily expenses like living and paying rent, 5% for charity. I think that's important. You're never too poor to give. I find that it actually goes the other way, that the more you force yourself to give, the more abundant life becomes. 10% for having fun, 10% for education. That's a big one. A lot of people don't think of education as like a lifetime expense to budget for. I absolutely think it must be. And then 10% for emergencies, and 10% for what he calls your financial freedom account, which is basically for saving and investing and growing true wealth. So, and I think that's a great model. You can rewatch the video or check out that book. Anyway, so my millionaire money habits to adopt. These are specific things to do to build true wealth in your life. First of all, eliminate credit card debt. Before you invest $1, I've literally had I've coached hundreds of people over the last more than 10 years. I've probably had a couple dozen people say this to me, so it's enough that I'm like, maybe we need to talk about that. They're like, how do I invest? And then I find out later they were carrying credit card debt. And it's like, credit card debt costs like 23, 24%, even if it's 10, 15%. So every dollar you pay off of credit card debt is like guaranteeing whatever the interest rate was, it's like guaranteeing that rate of return. If you can guarantee 24% on your money, that's what you should invest in. And paying off credit card debt is like getting that level of guaranteed return. So absolutely pay off all credit card debt before you start investing anything. The next tip is never spend your 10% emergency money. And in fact, never put that money into anything that could possibly go down. The next tip is only to put your 10% financial freedom money into things that will actually lead to financial freedom. A vacation may feel like freedom. That's not financial freedom. You can't spend your 10% financial freedom money on a vacation. Only things that'll grow into financial freedom. And the next thing is, I mentioned this earlier, forced savings. Make your savings automatic by setting up account transfers ahead of time. Make it so that it goes out before you can even touch it, before you can even spend it, right? And then finally, invest to grow your wealth faster. I actually have another video you might enjoy that's very simple to get started with for investing. It's called How to Invest $1,000. And by the way, everything in it could also be used with $10,000. Could also be used with $100,000. But I know that a lot of people need to start small. So it's How to Invest $1,000. And it talks about how you can start to grow some assets and start to build true wealth, even if you're at a very early starting point. Again, we'll put the link for that in the description. And then the fourth tip that I have is to create multiple streams of income. Most millionaires do not rely on just one income source. A great book called Rich Habits by Tom Corley. And in it, he says that 65% of millionaires have 3 or more streams of income that they've created over time. Personally, I actually counted it up on another video. It was like 8 or 9. Wyatt, do you remember that video where I counted up my income streams? He said, yeah, if you couldn't hear him. Do you remember how many it was? It was like 8 or 10, right? It was 8 or 10. Anyways, Wyatt, you were no help at all. But trust me, it was 8 or 10. And by diversifying your sources of income, it allows you to weather the economic downturns that always occur in life. In fact, I'll give you a good example of this. So I sell some digital courses that teach, and I refuse to just teach one way to make money. I think it's short-sighted, and it doesn't serve the customer to just teach this one way to make money, because this has been my experience in life. So I started learning digital marketing in 2008. And I started out as an affiliate marketer, and it was great. I did really well in from 2008 to 2013. I made over $10 million affiliate marketing. But the funnels that I had built were reliant on advertising that leveraged the Google platform. So I was running all my ads on the search engines. And that doesn't mean that's the only way to do affiliate marketing, but that's just what I happened to do. That's what I chose to do. And then Google changed some stuff in their policies on their search engine. And they stopped accepting advertising from affiliate marketers. I couldn't promote. All my funnels immediately just went down, and they shut the ad account down, and I opened up a new one, and that only ran for a few months, and they shut that down. And I'm like, oh my gosh, my entire business just went away because Google changed one thing. And I could have done other things, but because I had spent years investing in this one platform, my whole business evaporated overnight. So I would, instead of just taking my ball and going home, I said, okay, well, I'm pretty much an expert on the Google platform now. What else? Who else needs Google? What does Google's shift really indicate? And what happened was Google was shifting away from generating revenue from internet-based marketers and focusing more on generating revenue from local businesses. They were focusing on the Google map. They were focusing on getting all the plumbers and all the roofers and all the restaurants and all the daycare centers, on getting them to become their base of advertisers. And so I said, okay, well, I understand Google. I could go take these skills and service local businesses and help get them on the map and get them ranked and get them visible and get them traffic, right? So I did that from 2013 to I ended up selling that agency in 2018. I did over $25 million helping local businesses get on Google because I already understood it. And it stopped working for my affiliate business, but I was able to turn it into an agency business. And then in 2018, the reason I sold that business, because about a year prior, I had started creating courses. I took the same skills that I had. I knew how to build funnels. I knew how to create online sales presentations. I said, I'm gonna start building courses, teach other people how to leverage these same skills. And that was going so well. I started that at the end of 2016. By 2018, it was going so well, I sold my agency. And I've been focusing on that for the last, now it's 2 years, right? So taking the same skill sets and applying them in different ways and creating multiple streams of income. And now I actually do all three. I still have a smaller version of the agency. I still have new affiliate funnels that I've built, and I sell a lot of digital courses. Put all that together, those are my 3 primary internet-based income streams. I also have 2 e-com stores. I also do real estate and also do investing, a variety of other things. Like I said, 8 to 10, I tallied them all up. But the point is, that's the key. I'm bulletproof in any economy, recessions, successions, whatever. Went through this COVID crisis, and my business actually grew through the COVID crisis. I'm not gloating, but that's what it's like when you have multiple streams of income. How many streams of income do you currently have? I mean, real income, earned income, passive income, investment income. It could be loans, interest from loans, not loans that you pay, but loans that you loaned and get paid on. You can earn dividends, capital gains, royalties, rental income, maybe real estate appreciation. It's not a realized income, but you're still able to calculate it and earn it. Stock market investments, passive income businesses, active income businesses. Maybe you have an e-com store or a website. Like I said, I have 2 of those. Maybe you have an annuity. Maybe you've bought shares in private companies through private equity, investment pools. Maybe you have a side hustle. Maybe you sell products. Maybe you set up a booth at the flea market and sell pies. I don't know. How many income streams do you have? There are so many options. So listen, if you'd like to learn more about creating passive income for yourself, then click below in the description, a training session I offer. I mentioned the 3 different businesses that I do primarily online. As I said, I have some others, but these are the top 3 main businesses that I see creating major passive income businesses for people online. And like I said, click the link in the description below. I have a course that kind of intros you to the basics of those 3. So once you've adopted these millionaire habits into your lifestyle, I'd love to hear about it. Or even before you adopt them, just tell me about your plans. I'd love to hear about it. Put some comments in the comments below. Put some comments in the comments below. Yeah, I think that's what I meant to say. So like goal setting, right? How's that going? What are your goals? What are your plans? How's it been going? Do you think it could get better? Are you permanently crappy at goal setting, right? I don't think so. Nobody is. But how did you convert your goals into daily habits? How did you chunk them into bite-sized bites, right? What about books? What books are you reading? What about your budget? Have you created that coach in your life who's constantly tapping you on the shoulder? Tell me about your budget, right? Do you have any questions? I love answering questions. What about passive income streams? What types of passive income streams are interesting to you? Do you have more questions about that? I can't give personalized financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, but I'm pretty educated about these various subjects. So, like I said, share your results. Ask any questions you want in the comments below. If you would subscribe to this channel, if you're trying to build that awesome life, I'm here to help. I'm here to help you pay for it. And if you liked this video, if you got some value out of it, I would appreciate a like too. It helps me with the YouTube algorithm. And definitely check out my training below on different forms of online passive income. And most of all, just keep dreaming and thinking big and taking massive action. Because remember, if it was easy, everybody would do it. You have to make a decision that you're gonna live in a place of comfort being uncomfortable. That itself is the main decision, and everything else follows from there. Thanks for your time. I'll see you on the next video. Take care.